Welcome back, everybody, to the Knicks Rewind podcast, and we finally have some things to talk about, so we're excited. I'm Johnny.
I'm Owen.
And, we're going to start, actually, this podcast by saying, a little quick thing and just acknowledge what's happening in the world right now because, it's pretty sad, and America is probably in its worst place that it has been in a long time, racially, economically, and everything going on. So we just want to acknowledge the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Arbery? Ahmaud Arbery. Yeah. So, just wanted to say a quick thing. Owen, you want to say a quick thing first?
Yeah, I want to, offer my, condolences to all the families of the people that have been taken because of this pretty blatant racism. And I just want to commend all the protesters who are going out there and in some ways risking their well-being, risking their lives to protest for a good cause because it's very violent, risking getting tear gassed and hit. So I just want to say that I think it's a great movement, and I really hope it'll drive change, and I'm really proud of all these people. And I really hope that something finally changes in this country.
And you and I are...
mess right now. The country's a fucking mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I wonder why. It's because of, Mr. Trump.
Yeah. I just want to say, you and I as two white dudes in pretty privileged positions, this has actually really opened me up to, I've always been aware of racism. I've never been a racism denier, but this has really opened me up to everything going on, and I think it's a big wake-up call for many people, because I was the type of guy who obviously was anti-racist, but it never felt like it came across that way because I was always kind of silent. I never really spoke up. At school, when we had meetings about this stuff, I always kind of remained silent, but this time I'm finally kind of speaking out, and it feels good, and it feels like I'm doing something and helping the cause. So hopefully this is a movement that continues, and
yeah. It's been a hard couple of days, but I think it was important for me to do some self-reflection.
For sure.
About kind of what I can do better, and how I can be a good ally, and really speak out against this. Because kind of like you, for a while, I just kind of bystanded and felt very uncomfortable talking about race. But you realize that a lot of Black people in the country, they want to hear your voice. They want you to help.
Right.
Really, it is going to take us rallying and really fighting to change this for it to actually change. Because this needs to turn from a minority movement to a majority movement, where the majority of the country is really fighting for this, and not just African Americans and a select group of white people. It's got to be everyone.
Right, for sure. And we're not going to get into the whole riots and everything going on, but I do want to say I was listening to the Sunday's Bill Simmons podcast, and him and Ryan Russillo had some great things to say, and they had some great quotes in there, and they went into the riots and everything going on. So I strongly recommend you listen to that because I back everything that they said on that show.
So I probably should throw this in. Some big news just came out.
I just got a Twitter notification too.
Yeah, so Derek Chauvin, the guy with the knee on the neck, got elevated to second-degree murder, and then there were charges for the other 3 police officers for aiding and abetting.
That's very good news.
Yeah, that is very.
So a little live news on the show. However, let's get to. We have some NBA news this morning too.
We have some good news. Yeah,
we have some good news.
Very good.
So we're going to start with this morning. A Woj and Shams report came out that
it was just bombs.
It was bombs. It kept coming back and forth, and I'll actually pull up the tweets now, so I can just read them, so I can get the most concise info that there is. But the NBA is coming back, which is actually really exciting.
It is back.
And thank God we missed it. It would be a brutal summer without it. But here was the tweet that mentioned it. Each of the 22 teams will play 8 regular season games in Orlando for seeding purposes for the playoffs. So it's going to start with 8 regular season games. They announced what teams were going to play in it. It's the playoff teams for each conference, and then joining them are New Orleans, Portland, Phoenix, Sacramento, San Antonio, and Washington, which is the only East team.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to be regular playoffs. It's going to be in Orlando. We're going to have 8 regular season games that will get guys warmed up, get guys to fight for the playoff spots, and there's play-in games. So the play-in games, if the 9th seed is more than 4 games behind the 8th makes the playoffs. Fewer than 4 games is a play-in tournament. So this is the first time that they're doing something like this, obviously. Are you excited? Do you think they did a good job? What are your thoughts? Spill it all out. I know I'm excited.
I think they did an awesome job, personally, just with making this happen.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was so pessimistic about anything happening. I was like, they should just cancel it. They should really just go out. But I'm really happy. This news is great. Mm-hmm. But keep going.
Yeah, I agree. No, and in baseball, there's a lot of issues over salary and all that, and they're really having a hard time reaching an agreement, and their season hasn't even started yet. And for the NBA to revive their season, and bring it back and really just have these teams just kind of fight for the championship, I think it's going to be the most interesting playoffs we've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, it'll either be that or the champion will have an asterisk next to their name, I feel like.
I don't think the champion should have an asterisk in their name, because I think they will just automatically in history, like, oh, the Lakers won this year with COVID and it was all weird. But they shouldn't, in my opinion, because they're still just playing basketball.
Right.
There have been lockouts before, shortened seasons.
Right. Like, I don't generally consider the 1999 Spurs to have an asterisk next to their name after that lockout, or the 2012 Heat to have an asterisk next to their name.
No one does. Yeah, because the Heat were the best team in the NBA that year. The Spurs were the best team in the NBA that year. But I also think it's an awesome plan, because it gives teams that realistically kind of had a shot at making the playoffs a real chance to really break. They were going to
do anything that they could to have the Pelicans in the playoffs. Yeah. And it's not obviously a lock for them, but I think that they're better than Phoenix and Sacramento and potentially Portland.
Zion definitely gained like 30 pounds during quarantine.
Yeah, but obviously, like, it's going to be exciting to see him in a game that really matters.
I'm excited. Zion's interesting. I kind of wish, I don't know, a little thought that I have is like, when he was in high school, he was like super slim.
Mm-hmm.
Not like super slim, but he was like pretty slim, and he just had the most insane bounce in the world. And he's low-key like lost his bounce a little bit because he's
gained weight. He's like he's a thicker boy now.
But I think we'll see what happens with the Pelicans. I think they have a chance to do. He's
really good.
Yeah. I also think the Blazers are an interesting team to watch, I guess. Lillard's really good, but terrible defensively. Wizards are going to be a really interesting team to watch.
I don't think so.
They might have John Wall.
They're not going to have John Wall.
Why? He literally had surgery. Said like the other day he's 100% healthy.
I don't know what he's been doing in regards of practicing with the team. Obviously, he hasn't been practicing for the past couple months. I don't think even if he's 100%, he hasn't played with them all year. I have a hard time believing they're going to put him in. It's risky just to put him in, for that 8 games. I think they're better off without him for those 8 games, honestly. I was never a big John Wall guy, and, a torn Achilles for a player like Wall is pretty brutal. So I don't know how helpful he's going to be.
It's a brutal injury in general,
Yeah.
There's another star who tore his Achilles, and I don't think he'll ever be the same player.
Durant?
He's probably just going to end up being an average. Yeah.
You think he's going to be an average player? You're kidding?
He's going to come back and be like really good, and it's going to make me upset.
Yeah.
Because of course he will,
Yeah, well, it's Kevin Durant. But John Wall isn't Kevin Durant's body. But anyway, I don't want to talk about Washington. They're boring. I want to talk about the Knicks real quick. The season's over. I didn't expect to make it. And they don't want to see the Knicks in this thing because we suck. But the offseason is officially gone for the Knicks. It's over.
Yeah. Real quick, I have a question about the season.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think this is the least interesting, most frustrating, boring Knicks season I have been a part of in the last 5 years.
I don't disagree. No, the interesting part about this was watching RJ, was watching Frank, and watching Mitch. Right? Anything other than that was just horrible to really watch. And it's not like RJ had a phenomenal year. It's not like Mitch really had a huge breakout year, even though I think that they should consider it. Does he pass Wilt's record?
I think he should.
I think he should too. He was on pace.
My God. The only thing that has kept me going is these Mitch videos.
The workout videos.
He just not even the impressive thing, because like sometimes he looks like such an idiot. Like he looks like, the video that went around of like Julian Newman like dribbling between his legs a million times, and then everyone's like, "That's Katie and Kyrie next year."
Mm-hmm.
On everything.
Right. So we just had to pause there because Owen's doing construction at his place right now, and it was pretty loud, so we just paused it for a sec. And we're just gonna continue with this little Knicks season reflection kind of thing, because we weren't planning on doing this because we weren't totally sure if the season was officially over. But now that it's officially over, we'll just get into it. And then later, we're just gonna talk about the offseason for a minute, and specifically point guards. And we're gonna say, like, obviously it's ideal this summer to draft a point guard, but if we don't end up getting a point guard in the draft, who do we go after? How much would you give up for a guy like Van Vliet, Chris Paul? We'll get into that in a bit. Anyway, so we were saying before that this was the most boring, like useless season that we've had in a long time. Now, the only fun part really was watching RJ, Mitch, and Frank. But, Julius Randle, Peyton, Dennis Smith Jr., it felt like dead weight on this team.
I guess we can talk about Dolan for a little bit.
Yeah, that's good, because he's a little bit relevant right now. So I'll open this up. There was a report that came out 1 or 2 days ago that said Knicks players are, quote, furious that the Knicks haven't made a statement following Floyd's death. And I was pretty loud about this on Twitter because it is pretty absurd that we didn't make a statement. Their argument was that they're not more qualified than anybody else on social media to make a statement. And that may be true, but you're also a professional organization with over 1 million followers on all your social media platforms. I think you have to make a statement. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think you have to make a statement. You also have to make a statement because, the majority of the team is black.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a lot of African-American players. I think who's the only guy that's not is Iggy. And we have one of the most diverse front offices in the NBA, which is pretty cool. And I honestly commend Dolan for that. I think before we fired Fizdale and fired Steve Mills, it was like the only head coach, GM, president of basketball ops trio in basketball history.
Right.
And I thought that was great. And you have a lot of these like prominent voices, and you have a voice to make a statement and really, gain the attention.
When you're the most expensive franchise in basketball, you have to make a statement. When you have a huge following, when you have so many followers on the social media. I'm going to read just a message from the Jim Dillon email that got leaked to the MSG company. We at Madison Square Garden stand by our values of a respectful and peaceful workplace. We always will. I don't understand that line at all because I understand what they're coming from, but not making a statement about a man being murdered by the police that every other NBA team has, or practically other. I don't know about this point. This was like yesterday, but I think 95% of them did. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. It's just everyone else is doing it, and when you're that one team or one of two teams, I don't know who the other team that hasn't done it yet is. And of course, we're the team that gets a lot of attention for it.
The only team that Woj retweeted.
Yeah, of course. It's still very frustrating, for me, because you have a voice and a lot of teams are making statements on it. Like the Jets made statements on it. That's my other favorite. That's my favorite football team.
Yankees haven't, I think. I saw that they have.
Yeah. Because the Yankees president of basketball, or their president is best buddies with Trump. Dolan donated over $100,000 to Trump's campaign.
All these rich white dudes are Trump guys.
Yeah, true.
But side note, I don't want to get off track, but do you see the video of JR fighting off a rioter in LA, beating his ass because he broke his car?
That was hilarious.
That's pretty funny. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, I think they're 100% right, and I tweeted this yesterday or 2 days ago that they're 100% right in being furious. I totally understand, and I would be pretty furious too, especially if I was a black man on the Knicks specifically.
Everybody's probably pissed off. Because a lot of the Knicks are talking about it, posting about it. Like a guy like Taj, who's super active in his community, comes from Fort Greene, is probably really pissed off.
Right. And yesterday they did do the hashtag Blackout Tuesday on Instagram. I noticed. So at least they did that. At least they
did. I was a
that.
little interested. I was like, huh.
Yeah, I was like, you're gonna post that, but not make a the intern definitely got an ass beating. Whoever posted that, the social media intern. Yeah. So I guess you want to get into point guards, or we can actually. I want to circle back a little bit to how the league is returning, and actually we can make a couple predictions about like who's gonna come out.
Playoffs. Okay.
So we don't know what the full matchups will be yet because they still have some of those regular season games. Who was going to come out of the East? Are you going to say the Sixers?
No. Yeah, I was going to say the Sixers. Here's my pitch for the Sixers.
It's so... All right, go ahead. You can't even make it with a straight face.
You've got a fully healthy Joel Embiid.
You've had a fully healthy Joel Embiid pretty much all year.
You've got a fully healthy Ben Simmons.
He's been healthy all year.
He actually was hurt right before. I've been super faithful in the Sixers for the longest time. And this was supposed to be their year, but they had literally the worst offseason ever.
But at the time, it wasn't that bad.
At the time, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. It's bad.
Elton Brand has not done a good job.
No, he hasn't.
And that's why we should not go after Elton Brand. But I guess
that's Scott Perry. Anyway, okay, my hopeful pick is the Sixers. I actually think there's a chance though that could happen, but I'd say my realistic pick is the Bucks.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think Bucks are just so good. They're just so well oiled. You need Giannis to be off for them to really work. And he kind of struggled last year in a playoff setting where the game, I mean, this is such a cliche, but where the game slows down a little bit, his scoring kind of changes. Mm-hmm. But I do think that if there's any team that will beat the Bucks, it will be Philly.
I think if any team beats the Bucks, it'll be Boston. I just think they're far and away better coached than Philly, and I just think that their roster fits much better. I think Philly has more superstar talent, but I think Boston is just a well-oiled machine.
Nobody on Boston is banging with Giannis.
Yeah, but you just have a bunch of guys like Tatum and Brown and Marcus Smart. You just have more experienced guys than I feel like you do on. I mean, not experienced because they're actually younger, but I just think that they're coached better. They're just a more well-oiled machine than Philly.
Okay, I think they are too, but the Sixers played the Bucks on Christmas Day, and Joel Embiid was locked in, and it was a scary.
But Embiid hasn't proven to be locked in the whole playoffs. You can't. History shows he has not been a consistent playoff performer.
He hasn't been, no. But
you're hopeful. There's a lot of buts in your argument.
I'm hopeful. But, I mean, I love the Sixers, and they're my team now for the rest of the year, essentially, because
of your affiliation with your pops.
My affiliation with my pops, and the Knicks season is over. So, yeah, let's go Philly. But yeah, I think the Bucks. I realistically think the Bucks are going to come out of the East.
Yeah, I don't disagree. East, who do you think? I think it's got to be LA.
West?
Sorry, West. It's West.
It's going to be LA. What does that mean, though?
LA is going to come out of the West.
Which?
Oh shit! Lakers. Yeah, no, the Lakers are coming out. I just don't think that PG and Paul George, or what is good with me? PG and Kawhi have played enough together this season to actually show enough to me that makes me want to pick them. And I think AD and LeBron are just the perfect fit.
I have a hard time betting against LeBron.
Yeah, and I think he missed last year, but before last year he made the finals. How many years in a row?
Yeah, a lot.
I don't remember the exact number, but it was
something that's going to be cool about this that I haven't pointed out is all the games. This is good for us. Mm-hmm. All the games are on the East Coast, so
we can watch all of them.
No 10:30 games. Yeah,
that's awesome. Actually beautiful. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. We don't have school in the morning in the summer, but at least it's just nice to not have to be up that late sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's actually a good point. I haven't thought about that. But yeah, I think the Lakers will come out of the West. I think that if they play the Clippers, which I'm sure they will in the Western Conference Finals, they'll win in 6.
I don't doubt LeBron. I don't. Do you have a sleeper pick in the West?
A sleeper pick in the West.
Don't say it.
Houston?
Okay.
Do you not want to see the Jazz?
Utah.
No, I don't think Utah's there yet. I don't think so. I thought they were a little disappointing this year with Conley, and I thought Bogdanovich was going to do a little more than he did.
Conley was bad. Bogey was good. He's also out for the year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah,
I would go Houston, I guess, just because James Harden and Westbrook, that's so much star
power. It would be cool
power.
if Houston actually won something.
Yeah, it would be, but they're not going to.
Yeah, they're not going to.
I don't.
It's
Russ,
weird.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, we were talking about the Pelicans before. They're not going to make. I don't think they'll make the Western Conference Finals, but I think they can win a round. If actually, that's not true, because if they're going to be the 8th or 7th seed, then I don't see them winning. But if they, I don't know exactly what the standings are. But if they get bumped to like a 6th seed and end up playing the 3rd seed, which we don't know who that'll be yet, I could see them potentially making some noise and winning some games. All right, you want to get into the point guard conversation?
Wait, who's your championship pick?
Oh, Lakers.
Okay, me too.
All right, let's talk. And how many games? I would say 6 or 7. I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be close.
Lakers in 6.
Okay. Let's talk about point guards for the Knicks, because now it's officially the offseason, so we have time to really actually think about this and go deep into it. Obviously, it's ideal for all of the Knicks fans to, and I know the front office, to draft a point guard, but if we pass on a point guard and we don't end up getting a guy like Ball or Hayes or who am I missing? Those are the 2 main guys I want.
Halliburton.
Halliburton.
Really like him.
If we don't have getting one of those guys and they go before, or we don't like Halliburton and he slips further than us, and we get like, Anthony Edwards or a guy like
Edwards is
that.
interesting, man. I go so back and forth. So
I know.
often.
So if we don't get up getting a point guard, CP3 has been talked about a lot, and since he's been talked about a lot, and we actually haven't talked about him in this show yet, but we're sure that you guys have read things about him. What would you give up for CP3, if anything? Like, would you trade for CP3? Do you think it's a real idea or not?
I'd need a protected first-round pick back. I would give up nobody, so just contracts.
We would have to give up more than that, though.
Contract.
We would have to give up more than that.
Well, then I'm not doing anything, because I don't like he's 35. He played really well this year. But when is that clock gonna really turn?
Right, I think he's maybe got two more years in him, and obviously he's got the massive contract. But at least he is the type of player who ages well.
Yeah, I hope so. But a lot of guys have really good years when they get into their 30s and then just fall off a cliff. Mm-hmm. He also kind of has mastered like the old man game, though. Like, he's always going to be a good passer, and he can still just shoot the shit out of the ball in the
mid-range, just dribbling around. It doesn't rely on athleticism. And
off
just
a pick and roll, like those little fadeaways.
Yeah, totally.
He's gotten so good at that. He doesn't. Yeah, he's Chris. Like, he's just Chris Paul. He's a super smart, good player. But guys, when they get to that age, can still just fall off a cliff. Like Conley, for example. Conley was really good last year, and then just fell off a cliff.
Right. Because he just got old, and he's on a new team, and he's on, he was with Memphis for so long, a new setting.
But I trust Chris. I mean, if there's anyone I'd say that's that age, and I trust that's not LeBron, it's Chris Paul. So
right.
I wouldn't hate making the trade. I think he would make us a better team.
So sure. I just looked up some Ian Begley trade scenarios. What about Reggie Bullock and Knox for Paul?
Yeah.
Probably. I would probably do that.
I don't really like Kevin Knox.
I know you don't.
Not a big fan.
What about Reggie and Frank for Paul?
He loves playing with those controllers. He's a big Fortnite guy.
What about Reggie and Frank? I wouldn't do this personally.
No, I wouldn't do it either.
Too high on Frank to get rid of him for a 35-year-old guy.
I was have a feeling he's going to go there and just be really good.
Frank? Oh, 100%. Like him and Shea. That could be kind of a fun backcourt.
The thing is, I see a window where Frank is a good player. I don't see a window where Knox is a good player. He's just never going to be good enough. Like, I just don't see...
I haven't given up yet.
But I just don't see what he can be. Like, his ceiling is like a 20-point-per-game scorer that like still plays terrible defense and doesn't pass the ball at all. And just doesn't do a lot of whole things well, except for like streaky scoring. That's his ceiling.
Yeah, I know. But the streaky shooting is a good thing. That's a good player to have, especially on a team that can create for him, which right now we honestly don't have.
No, I think we need better spacing. He's got to shoot the ball better.
100%. But yeah, spacing is the big thing this offseason. I think you're going to hear that word a lot in articles and podcasts.
You're going to hear that word a lot.
Spacing.
Knox would be an asset to have if he could really shoot, but he just hasn't shot the ball that well.
Yeah. And I can hear some of your construction, but that's fine.
I know you can.
It's fine. All right, we'll move on to the other interesting option, the other guy who's been thrown around a lot, Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors. He'll be a free agent. How much would you give up for him?
Nothing.
You don't want him?
Fred VanVleet. No, just no. It's just giving a lot of money to a guy, a decent player on a really good, well-run team.
I feel like it screams Terry Rozier.
Yeah, that was loud. My bad.
You're good. I feel like it screams Terry Rozier.
It does kind of scream Terry Rozier.
I think he's a better player than Terry Rozier, but he's a short, not super athletic, and he is in, like you said, a very well-run system with a great head coach with great players around him. And he's not the main focus on the team. If he comes to the Knicks, he will be one of the main focuses that defenses really match up against.
And I'll have really big expectations for a guy that went to Wichita State
and also not have many
Toronto,
and not have pieces around him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd give up.
Last year, though.
I'd give up. We don't know what the cap is going to look like after this year and after everything going on. But I would give up $13 million. I mean, he won't take that. I think he wants 15 to 20 million, but I'd give him 13, maybe 12.
3 years, 40 million. 3 years, 45 would be my ceiling.
3 years, 45.
I don't want to give him more than 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't give him more than 3 years either. I mean, the ideal is honestly two plus one team option.
Like 2 years, 40 million.
Not even 40 million.
I don't think his market's going to be that big though, because a lot of people.
Most teams have solid point guards right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think many teams are going to go after him like that. Maybe like a smaller market like Orlando.
Also, interesting thing to point out, I don't think the draft will be for a while.
Yeah, that's going to be a long time away. And then the lottery is going to be in August, I saw, or is rumored to be in August. Mm-hmm. So that's a long way away. More speculation about the draft and more stuff. It's weird to think that we did our whole draft review, our in-depth draft review, like 2 months, a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And the draft probably won't be for another 3 months, 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But whatever.
Crazy stuff.
So CP3 would give up, but not for too much, and we need a pick in return. Fred VanVleet, we both don't love, but I don't love. And then there's some other guys like Dragic, Chris Dunn, and Galloway. Like, it's really not a very spectacular. Bring back Galloway. I like Galloway, but he's also not a true point guard. He's kind of a shooting guard.
No, yeah, he's just a shooter, really.
Chris Dunn.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Who's your ideal point guard coming into the year? Like, out of the available guys.
LaMelo Ball. Okay. Does he count as available guy? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Okay, yeah, definitely LaMelo.
They would get the 6th pick. Who do you take?
If Hayes is on the clock, Hayes. If Hayes is not on the clock, Halliburton.
Okay.
I think point
Cole
guard.
Anthony?
No, I think Halliburton's better. I think we need a point guard in this draft, and I think if we come out without a point guard, unless it's Anthony Edwards, it's a failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
What about Chris Dunn? Would you give him any money?
I don't know.
Yeah, that just screams another Knicks move. I haven't really heard anything about us looking after Chris Dunn, but that just screams another Knicks move of a guy who hasn't really turned out that
like
would just
rookie,
take a shot on,
who
like a Hazonia,
a high valued rookie.
Yeah,
who wasn't that good, like Hazonia, Noah Vonleh.
Right.
The list goes.
We've done this countless times in the past few years. But yeah, I mean there's really not. It's other than I think VanVleet is the best point guard in the free agency thing. I've seen the name thrown out, and then we'll wrap it up after this. But Brandon Ingram, do you think Pelicans give him the max? Because if not, I will give him the amount of anything he wants.
Yes, he averaged like 25 a game this year.
Yeah, all right, he'll be getting the max.
I'd throw an offer though. I mean,
what? Yeah, throw it to him. They're gonna match it because he's unrestricted. I mean, he is restricted. Sorry.
Sick, man.
But that'd be pretty fun. But that's just us dreaming. That's not going to happen.
They got a lot of big contracts coming their way though soon, so I guess might be an interesting situation to monitor.
That is actually interesting because they're going to have Zion to pay. They're going to have Lonzo to pay. They'll have
Jackson Hayes.
They have JJ Redick still. Jackson Hayes.
I don't know who else.
But I think Brandon Ingram is the second best player on that team behind Zion, so they don't let him slip away.
Yeah.
All right, you want to wrap it up?
Yes, sir.
All right. That was good. I'm really happy the NBA is back.
Me too.
It's exciting. It's going to give us something to look forward to this summer. And we're not going to be bored out of our minds. We can actually do these podcasts and have things to talk about. But yeah. Shout out to Twitter at Knicks Rewind Pod. Leaving 5 stars on Apple Podcasts is super helpful for us. And everyone stay safe. Keep making your voices heard, I guess. Keep speaking out.
Yeah, keep talking, yeah.
And
let's
we will
conversation going.
See you guys whenever we do the next one of these, which will probably be whenever the next set of Woj tweets comes out, honestly, about everything going on. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye.
All right.